It's time to talk about the funky fungus, the sensational shrooms, and the terrific toadstools of video games. These are some of gaming's most memorable mushrooms. Mushrooms can actually be found in a ridiculous amount of games. Just search any franchise with the word mushroom after it and something will come up, whether it's an enemy type, a location, a consumable, or just a weird little guy. I organized all the examples I could find into different categories based on the role of the fungus in question. So first up, let's take a look at the mushroom biome. And I'm gonna start with Mario because this series has without a doubt the most memorable mushrooms of all time. So the Mushroom Kingdom, not really a biome, but there are certainly some mushrooms here. I'm sure you all remember good old Mushroom Gorge, the third track in the Mushroom Cup that was introduced in Mario Kart Wii. There are also various other mushroom levels in most of the mainline Mario games. Good stuff, pretty simple but totally set the standard for other games to build on, including the mythical Mushroom Fields biome in Minecraft. As a kid, I remember hearing about a biome that was entirely made of mushrooms, and I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. Looking at it now, not as impressive as some of the other places on this list, but a classic nonetheless. And then we have Black Reach in Skyrim. Now that's a whole nother story. I've always liked the idea of a glowing mushroom, which do actually exist in real life, just not anywhere near me, unfortunately. But thankfully, I didn't have to travel very far back in 7th grade when I discovered Black Reach. Truly an unforgettable place. And another very memorable one, Fungal Wastes from Hollow Knight, complete with this big mushroom guy that repeatedly smashes his head into the ground. This is one of my favorite locations in the game, competing with City of Tears and Green Path, because it feels so alien, yet also is teeming with life. And in Shroomatech, you build your very own mushroom house and take care of the little shroomies who move in. Super cute, and I think more people should know about this one. Moving from places filled with mushrooms to characters that are mushrooms, Toad, possibly short for toadstool, is not technically a fungus, but very much does resemble one, so an honorable mention, I suppose. Lone Fungus is Metroidvania all about using your mushroom powers to reach new areas, defeat bosses, and of course find secrets. It's all very shroom themed and mysterious, and some nice pixel art too. In Smushy Come Home, you play as a tiny little mushroom who's lost in the forest and can't find their way home. Much more chill than Lone Fungus, it's one of those games where you're very small, which is my favorite kind of game, honestly. Explore at your own pace, collect stuff, and go on many adventures as you journey back home. Inscription has the mycologist's character that you'll run into occasionally in the first act that'll combine two of your cards into a weird hybrid. And small spoiler if you haven't played the game yet, in Act 3 you can face off against them in a secret boss fight. From FromSoft, we have Wise Old Elizabeth, Guardian of the Sanctuary in Dark Souls, and the unmatched coolness of the Elden Ring mushroom armor. I'm sure there are tons of other mushroom things in these games, but I haven't played them, so I wouldn't know. And finally, this is Mushroom Musume, a game that lets you raise your very own mushroom daughter from a tiny spore and discover all the twists and turns that her life might take. It's not out yet, but it does have a free demo you can play, and I kinda love it. Just don't get too attached to her because this is a roguelike, so she's not gonna last very long. Possibly the most common use of mushrooms in video games is for cooking or crafting consumables. We already know that Nintendo loves their mushrooms, and the Legend of Zelda wiki says the entire series contains 36 mushroom types in total, and in Breath of the Wild alone there are 12 varieties. Each one has its own special properties, can be used to make various mushroom dishes, and used as a dye. Very versatile. Stardew Valley has a lovely variety of mushrooms that can be found all over the place, in the mines, in the woods, or even in your own personal mushroom cave. There's also the majestic mushroom tree you can use to spruce up your farm. If you want to get into alchemy, then check out Potion Craft. With a very hefty assortment of mushrooms you can brew into tasty concoctions to cure the local townspeople of all that ails them. Plus, the scribbly parchment art style is super refreshing. Somewhat similarly, Strange Horticulture, which has a demo up, is kinda like a botanist detective game. Build up your collection of plants and mushrooms as you identify new species and use them to solve crimes and other strange happenings. And I'm finishing off this cooking and crafting section with 2 games that aren't out yet, but that I know will feature mushrooms in them. Songs of Glimmerwick is a magic school RPG. Obviously, we're going to encounter some fungi in the game, lots of nature gardening and potion making, and surely lots of mushrooms. Chef RPG is based entirely around cooking, and the developer even confirmed that the whole game can be completed with vegetarian recipes, mostly using mushrooms as a meat substitute. Did I ever mention how much I love mushrooms? And last is sort of a miscellaneous mycelium category, mushroom collectibles. Ghost of a Tale, potentially my favorite game of all time, has some very cute little mushrooms you can gather around the castle for certain quests. It just makes sense here. You're an adorable mouse scampering around the forest and collecting mushroom samples. In Morel's The Hunt, literally your only goal is to walk around and collect mushrooms. You can also take pictures of wildlife and drive around on your quad, but if you want the most realistic mushrooms you can get without stepping foot outside, check out this one or its upcoming sequel, Morel's The Hunt 2. And finally, we have Hermit and Pig, a turn-based adventure RPG about a reclusive hermit and his truffle-hunting pig. It's not out yet, but already very intrigued by the premise. Goofy pixel art, bizarre battles, and many silly mushroom-filled shenanigans. I'm gonna wrap up the fungus talk here. I'm sure I could go on, but I'd rather turn things over to you and hear about your fondest gaming mushroom memories. I also made a video similar to this one where I talk about tons of bugs in games, the good kind, and I think you might like that one too.